No. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's show. We got a brand new intro. We got some new technology. And just as a quick disclaimer to everybody, I'm on a different PC. I'm having my PC serviced today. So I'm on my laptop. So the camera's still the same. So you get the same orientation. But if you see me looking down, it's because I'm on my laptop today. So not hanging out too much there. Sean, you want to kind of tell everybody what we're going to talk about today and we'll get into it?
Absolutely. So today's all about how to be better thought leaders, right? That's what it is every time that we get on here. And one of the ways that I find to be the better leader is being more right. And it's easier to make the right choice when you have the data to actually provide you that confidence. And that's always the challenge. When people ask me, Sean, what do I do here? I say, well, the first part is always collect and measure your data. Find your metrics, right? Your metrics will tell you if you're doing good or you're doing poorly. If you're not metric oriented, then you better be very good as a visionary. So today we're going to be talking about being more data driven, and in that, focusing more on website performance. So, David, what can you tell us today about UTM and website performance?
Sure. Basically, what I'm hoping I'm doing is preaching to the choir, but unfortunately, with the experiences that I've had over the last 10, 15 years, a lot of people kind of know about this, but they don't really do it. So I'm guilty. I've done it, or unfortunately have followed this bad path myself several times. And it's when you're talking about creating links to whatever call to action it is that you're doing. Inevitably, leadership is responsible for the success or the return on investment of whatever the company decides to invest in, whether it's your salary or a specific marketing campaign or whatever it is that they're spending money on. They want to see some type of return on investment. And so we always create links to whatever various call to actions, whether it's it could be just something as simple as an email link to your company's website at the very bottom of the signature. How many people put those links in there? I can tell you right now, if everybody on this call went to their email signature where they had a link to their company website, 95 to 99% of you are just having a link in there. Nobody does anything else differently at all whatsoever. But the question is, if I asked you the question of how many times has somebody clicked on that link in your email, you would have no clue. And so that's really what today's topic is focused on showing or dealing with. The number one platform that's out there that, again, I should be preaching to the choir, that I think everybody knows, is Google Analytics. And so people know what it is by just the name, but maybe they really don't understand what it is. And it is quite complex for folks to either set up and or read the information that is inside of Google Analytics. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain using some demo data. And it's just an assault to the average person or to the layman. Like, they don't understand what they're looking at. So you're looking at Google Analytics. You're seeing a bunch of pretty art, line graphs, charts, graphs, but there's no context around a lot of that. Now, there is a free course out online. It's by this guy. His name's Benjamin, but I can't remember his last name, but he has this site called Loves Data, and he is up on YouTube, and it's about an hour long. So if you want to know how to set it up, he kind of goes into a really in-depth explanation. I'm going to leave him to do what he does best. So we'll put links in all of the various posts that we have for today's video, and you guys can go explore that on your own. But the whole point is we wanted to take away a lot of the pain from looking at this report and setting it up. and come up with something that is just simple and clean. Now, this is demo data. It doesn't make much sense in context. I'll talk to you a little bit about it, but unfortunately I've hit this so many times that I'm getting a quota error that I've accessed the data too many times, unfortunately. So some of my stuff is broken. The demographics, this is a map, so you can see where around the world people are clicking on various links that you have. Might be specific promotions or campaigns that you're doing. And then this is just giving you kind of a high level breakdown of what this is. Now I'm going to, even though this is demo data, I'm going to show you how to make this report more readable and more understandable, because behind this logo on each and every one of these, and again, I can't emphasize this, there's going to be like 3 or 4 links that we'll have to put in all of the different various posts. That'll take you to the YouTube page to show you, what Google Analytics is, how to set it up, and things of that nature. And of course, you can reach out to Sean or I on LinkedIn, and we can help, talk about maybe helping you out with all of that if your company has such a need for that. But really, today's discussion is about an understanding of leadership and data-driven decisions. If you don't know what's happening, if you don't know what's working, you're just throwing money at the wall, hoping something sticks. But if it does stick, do you really know that it's even stuck? And what information or what metrics are you doing? Many of you may already have a lot of this in place. And I think of those listening, I would say at least 20 to 60%. It's a very wide range, but it depends on how large the corporation is, how big the company is. So if you're a small mom and pop shop, you're definitely on the lower side. You're probably not dealing with this at all. If you're a small to medium-sized business, and I mean medium at maybe 500 to 5,000 employees, which is what I would consider maybe medium, it's a 50-50 chance. More often than not, usually this is not happening, but it doesn't matter what size your business is. Every business has the same need, whether they know it or not. A lot of times, Sean and I solve problems for people they don't even know that they've had. Sean, can you remember in recent time where somebody's in executive management has tried to make a decision on something, and whether it's, whatever the marketing is that they're doing internally, externally, or whatever the clients are, like how many times has a leader tried to make a data-driven decision and have had to take all of the minions, send them to go redo what it is that they're supposed to do, because unfortunately, management doesn't have the information that they need to execute.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky balance, right? Because a lot of data can crawl into privacy. It can crawl into, nobody wants to be the creep tracking everything everybody does. But a great example that comes to mind is a quick service retail restaurant that I've worked with in the past. And they were trying to understand inconsistency of quality across the different chains. One of the ways they did it was they used emerging technologies such as IoT to do that. And then they were able to understand that something as simple as, certain maintenance requirements, certain, when oil is replaced on vats, things like this, and discrepancies in there that, employees are not following the best practices. So, having a good understanding of what the process needs to be and having metrics to show whether or not they're being followed can have a great deal of impact on what you're doing from an organization, what the outcome that you're trying to realize. And then, it isn't about punishing people. It's about reinforcing why best practices are best practices, and that everybody has a duty to the consumer to meet their exacting requirements for the best possible experience that can be created. So sometimes the experience can very well be technology, and a lot of us are really attuned to that. But sometimes Understanding the business process and whether or not it's being followed can absolutely be the way that you create an experience. So a lot of people are like, data, what are you going to do? What value does it provide? Well, it can let you know whether or not your best practices are being followed. And that could be the very big difference when it comes down to you and your competition, is how well you are achieving your results based upon your best practices. And if your best practices are being followed and you're still getting poor results, then you know it's the business process and it's not a training issue, right? So data gives you certainty, and certainty means that you can make accurate decisions. And I can't emphasize this enough. If you are working on a problem without data, you're guessing.
Correct. Yep. No, and this is true. And so one of the things that we have built here for you is the ability for you to start making sense, and for senior leadership to be able to read a report and make sense. Now, again, this is demo data that we have on the screen here, but I want you to focus on the leftmost column that says source and medium. So a source, I want you to think of, I mean, if we start looking at this source / medium, and you start looking at that, you can see that there's a lot of stuff in here that doesn't make too much sense, like direct none, Google organic. The rest of this is just garbly. We got art, analytics, appspot.com. It's a referral. So you can try to maybe sort of make sense of this. And so basically a source is what is the source? What was the call to action is probably the better way to say it. What was the call to action that this happened on? And so if you don't provide a name for it, and by the way, you can provide names for it. And again, we have this form that's hidden behind the logo, and it's this UTM builder. And for those of you not familiar, I'll digress for a quick, maybe half a minute and describe this. UTM is an acronym. It stands for a company that used to exist in the middle 2004, 5, or 6. I don't remember the exact time frame, but it was called Urchin Software, much like the sea urchin. And so Google went ahead and bought this company out, and they bought it for the purposes of the foresight of Google Analytics. And when they purchased it, that UTM acronym stuck, which is, again, it just means urchin tracking module, essentially. And so what you do is you provide, your base website, and this medium and source is, what is it? So I gave you the example earlier of your email signature. How many of you are actually tracking it? So you could put email signature. And for medium, this is more about the kind of think of it in terms of who, what, where, why, and when, right? And so the what call to action, it's an email link signature. And the medium could be your name because it's your email signature. So when you get over here into the report and you look at this demo report, it will say email signature at / if it was Sean, it would say Sean Ennis or just Sean. Would encourage you to use like the full name. But the point is build your links like that so that when you look at the report like this, you can see, hey, which employee, and you can filter down by a particular, item and just say, hey, out of these 10 people in my department, how many are getting clicks on the signature block? And then an interesting question that, management might have is, okay, out of the person or the top 5 people getting the most clicks, how many emails do they send out? How many promotions? And this might apply if you're in sales or something. And so all this is helpful, but you can understand if somebody gets a ridiculous amount. And so this is a good example of a offset. Don't worry so much about source medium in this use case. I just want to look at the view column because this tells you how many clicks or interactions was there. So 3,000 versus 1,000, that's, what is it? Twofold, threefold is more than what you had over the next line item, which is only 1,000. So if you got somebody in an organization generating leaps and bounds by X multiple fold over what the next rung down is, then what are they doing different? And you might want to dig into that. The whole point is not to chastise those that do less than. It is to find out what is working and then increase, multiply, and exponentially grow that across your organization, because these tiny little stupid things like this can have a profound impact. It's like fine tuning the little things in your business and just finding those things that work. So many digital transformation today projects that I hear are declined because of the investment, the dollars, the energy, the resources. If you're looking for low hanging fruit, guys, this is it. Sean, you got anything to maybe add to that about the resistance of these large scale projects that may or may not produce fruit?
Yeah, I mean, and I know I feel like I'm repeating myself how important data is, but a lot of people are like, Sean, but I can't get data on this. Well, of course there's a way. Of course there's a way. This is why Google invested billions of dollars into tracking data so that they could sell advertising better. That's what this model's all about. Now, for web, they've been nice enough to be having this as a standard that you can profit off of. And no matter if it's IoT, as I talked about before, or a web experience, there's transcription services for voice calls that you can do. Being able to instrument your environment so that you have business decision data is part of what every leader will need to know how to do. Because if you are a transformation leader, you need budget. If you need budget, you need to put together a proposal. And that proposal is going to say, hey, we see this, that's why this is a good course of action, and that we're going to invest in this way, and the outcome is going to be assured using these metrics. So you're not going to be able to do transformational work without having something similar to this. And this is a really good model to understand and comprehend how data can be leveraged for transformational purposes.
Yep, definitely. And one thing that I think people will appreciate is the subtlety of how a lot of this can be used. So I want you to think a little bit bigger than maybe just the email links that you guys do, but think about the LinkedIn postings that you do. Think about questioning, how do we track what it is that we do when it comes to communication? Today, there's only so many ways or so many avenues, such as SMS text messages, email messages, social media posts, blog posts, web, whatever. And now, hopefully, everybody's starting to think about chatbots and chatbot interactivity. So chatbots are an interesting topic in and of itself, because not only can these chatbots with large language models engage in normal banter like a ChatGPT, they can be custom trained on your data, your information. And so let's just say you spend a couple $100 to implement a Mickey Mouse version of this system because it's something ubiquitous, off the shelf, plug and play, do whatever, versus something where it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, major investment, 6 to 8 months to implement. Either way, either use case, you're training all of this information into it. And then hopefully you're having the foresight in the training to do, if this unfolds and I provide a link to get more information, which is kind of a static URL or a static area on your website, it could then give whatever the current information is, because maybe the chatbot just knows enough to say, hey, listen, you're looking for this. Let me send you over here to get more information. But when you do that, that link of sending them, whether it's an automatic redirect or it's a hard link that they click, you have to start thinking about putting these metrics, these trackable metrics inside of your chat and inside of your communications, inside of your activity, so that you can sit there and look at all of this. And one of the, the session source medium thing, when you're filling out this form, and by the way, I'll just leave it simple with just these two. When you generate it, it generates this code for you. And so you recognize this probably as your website, but then after this, you'll get a bunch of extra codes. Anyway, just copy it to the clipboard and then you're done. And you use that as the link then that would be going into your chatbot, into your email, on your blog post, wherever it is. And it's a painstaking thing because every link kind of has to be custom crafted so that you can check it. But the point is, if you're looking for low-hanging fruit, this is definitely the way that you guys can do this. I'm going to pop up a QR code on the screen right now. And when I do this, I'm going to change our background information. I'm going to get rid of this so it's just Sean and I. And I will put this on screen so that you can scan this link with your phone. When you scan the link with your phone, you're going to be taken to this page, okay? And so that's probably why this is looking the way that it is, because I've done a couple of blog posts and stuff telling people that they can come and look at this. So this is probably going to get worse over time. But the point is, when you log in to Google, hopefully you have a Google account, you come over to this vertical ellipsis over here. And if you click on this button, you can choose make a copy. Now, what you're going to see is this screen right here. Don't be too intimidated.
You may not be sharing the screen anymore, David.
Oh, that's right. Yep, I did take it.
Sorry.
Perfect. Yep, great. Let me go back because good catch. All right. Yep. Okay. So over here, top right corner, this is the vertical ellipsis that I was talking about, and you can click make a copy. And you'll get to this copy a report, and you can see this is Google Merchant Shop. This is their demo data account. And so the prerequisite before you get started in all of this, just verify that you, A, have a Google Analytics setup, and then B, do you have access to the Google Analytics setup? Because if you don't, go ahead and scan the link, keep it, and do whatever, but then just come up here to the URL, and you can copy out this link and then give it to somebody who does. But the point is, they will go into here and then choose their own data. If they don't have it here at the very bottom, somewhere in the bottom, you can, well, I can't see it on today's screen because my screen is really, really small. Let me see if I can go to F11. Maybe I'll get it that way. See where it says create data source? If you click that, then it'll take you into, hey, here's your data sources. And by the way, as a quick side tangent, when we're talking about data-driven decisions, today's focus is about the free tools that we were giving you about marketing. But if you don't have an analytical platform or a visual analytic platform, again, Looker Studio is free out of the box. You can see all of the different things you can connect to, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet. Here are your more traditional databases from Postgres, Microsoft SQL Server, even YouTube analytics, like all of these different things that you can connect to, including your social media accounts and stuff. So imagine making all of these data-driven decisions based on connecting something that you use every day, and then being able to put some visualization around it. But again, today is just about, setting this all up. So I'll click on Google Analytics to go into my demo account, and I don't know, we'll just do whatever. And then I can click connect here. And as soon as I do, it'll be available, and I just hit copy report. And then at that point, you'll have a copy of this report for you to use with your own data, because it is now connected to your own data. And that means that you'll be able to go ahead and edit this report. And so when you edit it, here's the information. You just click on the different visualizations. And then, depending on your skill level, you can change all of the different metrics out. If you need any help with that, again, you could reach out to either Sean or myself on this one. But nonetheless, this is something for you to get a really quick and easy access. So again, the QR code is at the top right corner of our screen right now. You should be able to scan it with your phone, get it, You can copy it off, send it, email it, do whatever you want to do. But this will get you started. And again, in the viewing of this, just clicking on the logo at the top will take you into our free UTM builder so that you can get started with that low-hanging fruit today. And hopefully this will start making a difference in what it is that your marketing is. And as a leader, if you're watching this and none of this made sense, then just know that you need to delegate, give this to somebody who's technical in your technical and marketing departments, and have them go off and use a free tool to help get you the information that you're looking for. Anything else to add, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is always the same. If you're going to transform, you're going to need data, you're going to need metrics. To your point just then, David, if you don't know how to get the metrics you need, you're dead in the water. You need to start collaborating with people who can. And, you know, that's what David and my day job is to help people do these transformation projects. And, you know, for most of those clients, it comes down to starting at the beginning, which is we know we need to change. We know something is wrong with our business, and we believe it's this. And doing discovery projects. And, you know, a lot of people really do frown upon discovery projects, but I'll tell you, it is absolutely the best money you will spend, because you will know what and how far you can get a project before you commit. And that's the difference. Spending, you know, 25 grand to make sure that you know you're going to get an outcome when you spend a couple million seems to be a bargain to me. You know, having the wherewithal to be able to know what your data is, you could start tracking it, you could start compiling it, you could know the art of the possible. That's what we do. So I really would want to emphasize, you know, when it comes down to transformation, it's all about the metrics. Metrics are driven from data. And if you don't have the data tagged correctly, you're going to need a strategy in place before you start even imagining the transformation to understand what you want to transform to, right? The journey starts with a destination. If you don't have the data, you're not tracking the data, you don't know what the destination could be.
Yep. And to help to that end, Sean, we're going to help folks out even further. Here's a free document that we have that will help you with your strategy. It will help you with your decision making and your implementation of these UTM codes that we talked about today. This will take, you know, on the form, you saw a bunch of different fields, and this is essentially the user manual to that. And so here it talks about demystifying what the codes are, basically everything that we talked about in summary here. This talks about the UTM sources holistically, you know, the source tag rather, and it talks about approach and strategy. We've got user examples and use cases. This is UTM medium. Down here is the campaign. Anyway, you go through all of that to get down here to the bottom. This is the course that we talked about. So you'll be able to go there and visit Benjamin's site directly. And then this talks a little bit about these tools. And this is what the pages look like that didn't have any data because I've accessed it one too many times here. But anyway, this is what the reports are supposed to look like that I was showing you. And then, of course, the summary. So you got the QR code. We'll put all of these links in our various postings throughout LinkedIn, YouTube, and on our website. Down here on the banner, you can see the link to our website, Transformation Leaders Podcast. And so that is pretty much a wrap for this short presentation. But every Wednesday, we're here to talk about transformation ideas, leadership. And if you guys have a suggestion or you would like to become a guest on the show, hit us up on our website and then go ahead and register and we'll reach out to you. That's it for this one. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.